What's up, everybody? Hopefully you're having a good day today. Sorry for the delayed start. I'm leaving on vacation early in the morning. So also don't mind the giant pile of clothes you seen behind me. Did a bunch of laundry so we could take clean clothes, and now I gotta try to put all that stuff away too. So but we made it. Last day of the semester, we made it. Pretty crazy. Hello. Good to see you. Hey, to be honest with you guys, I want to try to keep tonight short and simple. One, because we just don't have a ton left to try to cover in ZBrush, and I want to be respectful of your time. We did start a little bit late, but I also want to be respectful of your time. I know people have finals that start tomorrow, so I don't want to take too much time out of your night so that you can study and get all the stuff you need to get done. Okay. The things I do want to cover tonight. Hello, how's it going? The things I do want to cover tonight, excuse me, are a couple different ZBrush items. So we'll go over those here in just a moment. I also want to show you what you need to submit for your assignment and things like that. So sorry about that. Yeah, I want to cover some ZBrush stuff and then go over what you need to submit for your assignment, and then talk about final due date, deadlines, and things like that. So we'll go over that here. And I should hopefully not have to take too much of your time. So what I'd like to do is open up the character we were working on last time. So let's open that guy up wherever he ended up getting saved to. So we'll take a look at this guy. And then I want to go through some painting stuff as well as a couple other tools. So I wanted to talk about the pinch tool and a couple other tools. So as you're working through your ZBrush model, okay, remember that you can always divide again. More than likely, you want to try to make your stuff look really nice and clean, right? So as you divide and make these things look nicer, I'm probably dividing something that doesn't need to be divided though. You want to make sure you're on the right subtool when you start dividing. So as I start dividing this little guy's body here, you'll see that those polygons start to kind of melt away. And then if I want to start coming through here and making lines a lot tighter, there's a really nice tool. There's a few different tools that we can talk about. The one that I really like is the pinch tool. So this is the pinch brush, okay? And what you can do with that pinch brush, as you can see, I can come through and just pinch things and make them really nice and tight and clean. Sometimes it's a little too harsh, so I turn down that intensity a little bit. Just kind of run through there. Try to keep it clean and smooth. Do the same thing around his eye here. All right, we're just trying to keep it nice and clean. And that pinch tool can really do a good job for us. And then if we need to go back in and resize our eye a little bit, we can do that too, right? We can always jump back into this tool and rescale this so that it fits within that realm. And if we need to use the move topology tool, we can do that as well to make sure this is round. And is looking how we want it to, right? So you can do that in combination with all your different tools. I believe our little guy, if we go to our assignment page, I believe he had some teeth, so we could throw those in there. Yeah, he did have some teeth, so cool. And a tongue. So we can do those things too real quick. So with teeth, we could do the same thing that we did before where we append in maybe a sphere or something. Make sure we get it small enough. And if we get it small enough, we could do something like this where you take the bottom of it. And to get it pointy, you kind of scale down your tool and use the smooth tool on there, and we can kind of get it pointy like that. And then we can scale it back up again. So we have something like this that ends up looking like a nice tooth. And if we need to come back in here and move that mouth around, we can too. So I'm just using the move topology tool to kind of move the inside of the mouth around a little bit. So it fits our teeth in there. And I can always smooth too, use my smooth tool. And we can come back through with the pinch tool if we need to as well. So I'm gonna take this tooth, scale it because I think they were a little bit smaller. Let's check our reference. Yeah, they are. And we can just kind of move these across. These ones, it looked like these two middle ones were up a little bit. And if we need to, we can come back to our body here. Bring this mouth out if we need to, just to give us some more depth on that mouth. And then we can move those teeth too. I'm just gonna merge down all the teeth. So I'm gonna go merge down, okay. Merge down, okay. Merge down, okay. We got all those teeth, and we can just move them forward. Okay. And then I believe you had some bottom teeth too, so we can grab some of those. I'm just going to split those teeth back up by hitting split to parts right here. And that way I can copy those teeth again. And I can move some of them back up if I want. I can put these teeth in that he has. They're a little bit bigger. And then with that one, I'm just going to duplicate it. And then mirror that with the deformation tab right here. Why is it so much more points than anything else? Let's see. I don't think it's more points than anything else. $150. It's right in line with the last ones you've done. So it shouldn't be too much more points than the other assignments you've worked on. The first two you did were 100. The Photoshops were 100, and then your Illustrator was 150. Your Pokeball was 150. This one's 150. And yes, it's due. I'm just giving you guys a week, basically, from the last day of class to turn it in. So, because I don't have to turn in my grades until the 15th of this month. So I usually try to give students as much time as possible to turn stuff in. So you have until August 12th to turn in all your remaining assignments. I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true. I just, in the past, when I've had assignments, students always want the most time possible to turn everything in. So instead of making it due this week as the last day of class, I just give you guys more time. So, I mean, I could have made it due today, but then I wouldn't have been able to show you a couple more tools, and then this last class would kind of be useless, right? So, yeah, I guess that's where I'm at with it. So you have more time to turn it in. If you don't want to turn it in on the 10th, you can certainly turn it in before that time. But the 12th is just the last day for everybody to turn in all their remaining assignments. I'm going to duplicate this here. So that last tooth, I'm just going to hit duplicate under the subtool tab right here. Hit duplicate. And then go to deformations right here. again, and then hit mirror in the X. So the X is checked, right? You can click through these and turn them on and off, and then I just hit mirror, and that will mirror it across. I'm going to jump back to my pinch tool and kind of turn this down and try to pinch this off and make this a little bit cleaner through here. If that's going to cause issues for you, Diana, certainly message me on Discord and we can work something out. But hopefully, more time is more useful than it is harmful. At least that's what I'm hoping. Moves from the center and stretches from there as well. Let's see. So if you've got like your object here and you hit W, if you have it locked, oh, if you have symmetry turned on, sometimes that can be an issue. So make sure you turn symmetry off when you're moving objects. I've noticed that be an issue in the past. Okay, I'm going to append another subtool in here. I'm just going to call all of these teeth just to keep stuff kind of organized in here since we've got quite a list going now. So let's just run through here real fast and rename a bunch of stuff. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Symmetry can cause that issue for sure. I'm just going to merge all the teeth down too. So we'll go merge down, merge down, merge down, merge down. Okay. So all the teeth should be one subtool now. And then I'm going to append in a new one. We're going to build the tongue real quick. So we'll do another sphere, I think. Oops, not that. So we'll append in another sphere here. Call this tongue. Then I'm going to use the slice brush here for this. There's a slice. Let's see. Is it S3? If you look for slice under here, you could use the damn standard brush too, which will kind of cut like this through there, which can do what you want. Just got to turn up the intensity. It kind of slices into your object like that. The only problem with this sphere is it might need to be dynameshed, so we can talk about that too, which is nice. So we talked about it when we started working on the character, right? As we worked with a dynamesh sphere, which means that ZBrush took a chance to retopologize and make a better looking piece of geometry, right? So it's a pretty easy process. If we come in here to the geometry tab and we jump down to Dynamesh, we can just click Dynamesh on this sphere and see how it changes to a better looking piece of topology there. Then we can turn off that. Now when I cut through this, it's not going to be all gross. And I can smooth it. I can also pump up the divisions on this too. To help make a little bit nicer tongue. So let's divide it first. I can turn down the intensity. Terrain object. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So usually with 3D objects like that terrain object, one side is invisible because double-sided shading isn't turned on. So your texture map only has the texture on the one side of the texture. It's not showing through on both sides of this plane. So inside of Maya, if you saw before, if you looked on the back side of a plane, it was black. So in ZBrush, instead of it being black, it's just invisible. So that's why. So I'm going to hit B for brush and then hit MT for move topology. These are just some shortcuts, and I'm just going to kind of shape this tongue a little bit here. Smooth it out. Then I'll hit DS, BDS for damn standard, and then I can recut my kind of tongue line in there again. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do is throw his little feet in. So I'll just grab another, I think I'll do another sphere, and I'm going to show you another way to use Dynamesh here. Okay, so I showed you how to use it on the tongue a little bit just to kind of clean up the topology, right? But you can also use Dynamesh to combine objects, which is really nice. So if I take another sphere and append another sphere, or we could do it with a cylinder too. So if we go subtool and we append in a cylinder, and we bump up the divisions on this. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's divide it, the cylinder, not the tongue. So we divide this cylinder a few times. We scale this down. We're going to use this as our guy's little legs since he kind of had some stubby cylinder legs here. From what I could remember in his art here. Let's see. Yeah, something like this. You can kind of rotate them in a little. And then we can grab the other side of his foot too. So then I'm going to do a cylinder or a sphere. So we'll append in a sphere now. We'll bring this sphere in. We'll take this sphere, divide this a couple times, bring this down, shrink this. Get this kind of scaled properly for his little foot. I was looking something kind of like this. Something somewhat like this. I'm going to show you another tool here in a second too. So I'm going to take the new topology tool and scoot this in the back because I like how it's sitting in the front, just not in the back. So we'll kind of scoot this in like this a little bit and smooth it out. And then his foot was flat, so I'm going to show you guys another tool, but let's do this first. So if we go to subtools and I merge this cylinder down into this sphere that we kind of used for his foot, if we go take this cylinder, hit merge down into the sphere and make one object. Then if I come into that same point with the Dynamesh, you can watch this. So if we look, there are two separate objects, but if I hit Dynamesh on this, you'll see that now it combined them into one object, which is what we want. And we can turn this back off. You will notice that it kind of lowered the resolution, so you can go ahead and redivide that and then smooth things back out around here to make it look right by holding shift with your smooth tool, right? But now we kind of got the start to his little foot there. And then if I wanted to flatten this off, there's another tool that's called the clip curve tool, which is super nice, which kind of, it's almost like a shave tool. So you got to think of these, a lot of these tools in terms of like digital clay in a sense. So if you kind of take his little foot, rotate it back out a little bit, move it down, then I can flatten off his little foot with the clip curve tool, which is or slice curve. Okay. And to do this slice curve tool, you need to hit control and shift at the same time and then click and drag. And you'll see that it does this little dashed line with a sort of gradient on one side of it. Anything on the one side of the gradient is going to get sliced off. So let's be selected on his foot and I'll kind of show you how this works. So if I take this and just kind of slice the bottom of his foot. Oh, it wants me to delete my subdivisions. It doesn't like to clip curve subdivisions. So we can leave his foot at what it is and just hit delete lower. That means that you can no longer scrub between those subdivision levels like I showed you in the past. You have, every time you hit divide, it creates a new subdivision level. And you could scrub through those. If you hit delete lower, it just leaves the object at its current subdivision level. So if we clip curve this now, it should work for us. Draw. Which I'm not sure why that's not working right now. Usually that works. What is that not working for? Clip curve. Let's see if clip curve works. There we go. Slice curve was not working. So clip curve worked just fine. That's weird. That's fine though. Slice curve was being funky, so we'll use clip curve instead. So if I hold Control Shift, you can do clip curve, click rectangle, slice rectangle, trim curve. Maybe we need to use trim curve instead. Let's see. Okay, yeah, trim curve works. So you can see how it slices off, kind of shaves off that clay, makes it flat on the bottom. Then I can come back over to this sub tool. We can hit duplicate on his foot and come back down to the deformation tab and jump up and hit mirror in the X again. Now he's got his 2 feet. So now we've got a pretty complete little character. There's some things that we could still work on here. I'd like to take his eye and bump the subdivision levels on that a little bit, or Dynamesh it and then do it. So if I go subtool or go to geometry here, yeah, that's right, we can hit Dynamesh on his eye, which is a lot better. Then we can divide it. Then if I wanted to add some like details to it, you know, or if we start painting on it, you'll notice that I'll explain it a little bit here, but ZBrush does pixel-based painting or vertex painting. So if you have weird vertices, the paint is going to look off. So I can show you some examples when we start painting a little bit. And it's not required for the assignment, but if you want to, it's kind of fun. So if you want to start painting on this guy, let's go ahead and I'll show you how to do that now. So I'll jump to my main body subtool here. And there's a couple things you need to click in order to start painting. So you'll need to turn off Z add or Z sub. So you'll turn those off and then you'll hit MRGB right here. And then you can click on a color over here somewhere and you can start painting, which I don't know why. Let's go to the standard brush instead of the move topology brush. This should just be painting now. There we go. And it's a little quirky. So you saw I had to kind of jump between the brush. So if you're in your standard brush, that's the one you're going to want to be on. And then you'll notice too, as I start painting, it kind of highlights white. And then if I start rotating my character, now you can see where I'm painting and I can start grabbing other colors and painting. And as I change my intensity, it won't paint as much, right? RGB intensity, sorry, not regular intensity, just RGB intensity. You can paint with like a, you can start painting with sort of a transparency, right? So if I wanted to paint my guy, you know, like this, that yellow color that I think he is, that orangey yellow color, we could come in and start painting him. And it's going to turn your whole character that one color until you paint the rest of the body that color, but it's okay. You can just jump to the other subtools and paint those as well. If I jump to the eye, it's going to paint it orange, but then we can go back and paint it all white. Or if you want his eye to be green or something, you know. I'm not sure why that's not painting. There we go. But technically he's this orange color, so I think it's C. Which one is it? There is an eyedropper color, or an eyedropper tool as well. Yeah, I thought it was C. So if I... Okay, cool. There we go. So if I'm hovering over that color and I hit C, you'll see that it color picks. So if I jump to this arm and I want to paint it orange, I can start painting it that orange color. And then it's all going to be based off the material I've selected. So if you want them to be like less of a, you know, skin shaded color, that matte cap is kind of a metally color. So if you want them to be a little bit more cartoony, or if you want to change, you could even change your character's model to like a kind of a cell shaded too, which can kind of look cool. So whatever you end up using here, right? So you could change it to this cell shaded kind of color or whatever. Whatever material you end up using on here, right, is going to be based off of what you're painting. So if you have them really shiny, or you choose like a skin color or a sketch shader where it's very just kind of toon shaded. Or you just use the matte, the matte cap white or whatever. Whatever material you have selected will kind of determine how your object is painted. Okay. And then also when you're painting, let's say you wanted to paint like an eyeball on this guy. You're going to have a feathering effect on that, right? As I'm painting. So if you don't want to have that feather sort of effect, you can change your focal shift. Up here at the top, you'll see that that kind of changes the two ring distances between them. So I could paint with a lot harsher of an edge, or you have the ability to paint with what's called alphas too, right? So if I paint with a circle alpha, change this really small, I could even paint, instead of dots, I could do a drag rectangle, and I could drag like a circle on here, right? But I have my RGB intensity kind of turned down, so I could come in, turn this all the way up so I don't have any sort of transparency, and I could just paint that circle right there, you know, if I'm trying to paint some sort of eye on this character, right? So you can see how quickly you can start to paint something that looks pretty nice, right? And we could even do it to his eyeballs up here too. I'm starting to realize that I probably shouldn't have joined these. I should have left the eyeballs as one. So you could do a split on this so that you could paint these a little bit easier if you do a split to parts. It usually will work. So it'll split the eye part and the socket. It may split that apart too, but you could go through and Dynamesh those together if you wanted. But that way you could paint the eye separate from these two pieces, or you could just merge this back down. However you want to do that. So merge down. Then the little antenna piece would all be, you know, orange like this if you want to paint that. I'm going to turn back on freehand and just paint that orange real quick. And you just have to get used to it being a little quirky, where you kind of have to rotate after you paint the first time so that it recognizes your paint. But I could come into this eye here and do, you know, a white color on here. Then paint the eye. And then do something similar to where I did before, where if we do blue eyes for the top one or something. We do a drag rectangle and we paint his. So this is where the Dynamesh comes into play. See how much cleaner that eye painted on this eye? This eye was not Dynameshed. So if we want to, we could go down here. If we look at the poly count on here, right, or the wireframe, you'll see that it has all those tries and it kind of painted a little gross. You could either bump up the subdivision level, or you could come down here to geometry and do a Dynamesh and Dynamesh that sphere, and then you could divide it, just make it a lot cleaner. And then when you go to paint that, it's going to put a lot cleaner of an eyeball there for you. Right. So if I hit C again, I could paint his arm back to orange. So that all of his arms are orange. I could go to the teeth, come into my teeth and paint my teeth the right color. I think they were yellow. Got orange, yellow. And paint my feet. Hit C again and I can grab the right color. I'm just color picking over it. Grab my other foot, paint this one. Obviously you can kind of see once you rotate where you still need to paint on here. Let's jump back to the body, hit F. Jump back down to my foot, make sure I got everything painted up. Then if I wanted to, I could delete this one. And then I could take this eye and this piece here and duplicate these. And it will duplicate the paint too, which is really nice. So then you could just mirror these across. So you could go geometry, not geometry. You could go back to the deformations tab again. And you can do mirror X, and then you can grab the eye and do the same thing, deformation, mirror the X. Oh, let's see. So we just needed to delete the lower. It doesn't like to mirror objects with higher subdivision levels or with multiple subdivision levels. So same thing, we just delete the lower. Then we can jump back to deformation and hit mirror again. So now we've got our little guy. Yeah, we'll have an attendance question today. You could come back to your arms if you wanted. The nice thing too, which something we haven't really covered yet, is that there's a masking function. So let's say your character had spots. Let's say our little guy has spots, right? And you're trying to paint. This also works with modeling too, but for painting's sake, right? So if I come in here and hold control and I come in and paint some of these spots on this guy. I'm painting a mask, okay? And then if I click and drag in the open space, or not click and drag, click, hold control and click in the open space, it will inverse that mask, okay? And now you'll see that I have a little darker orange color around that's been masked out, and all the dots are the orange color from previously. Let's say he has like some, I don't know, green or something dots, I don't know. Then if I go and paint, you'll see that it's only going to paint in this masked area. I don't know if I like green. Let's do like orange and maybe like a teal color or something. So it's only going to paint in the areas that I have masked, right? So this can be helpful for blocking stuff off, or masking if you've ever used masking in Photoshop or other softwares before. And then to clear the mask, it's control and click and drag in the open space. And now he's got, you know, his little painted. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, paint one and then copy paste it for sure. Yep. It would be faster for sure. So you could go about doing it pretty easily. We could add some spots to his arms if we wanted to, where we do, you know, a little bit smaller mask or something maybe, and give him some. Pretty quick way to give your guy some a little bit more character, right, while you're painting. And like I said, painting is not strictly a part of the project, but I wanted to show you guys that you can do it, right? Because the nice thing, we did texture maps and bump maps, or not bump maps, texture maps and UV maps for the Pokeball. ZBrush will allow you to take your texture that you've created here and export your paint as a texture, which is really nice. So if you import, I mean, the ideal is to import an object that has UVs and then paint something in here and then export it out. It's a nice way to 3D paint, right? And works really well. So yeah, class, we started a little bit later today, so, but I'm almost done with you guys. I'll let you go here in just a minute, but I just wanted to show you a few more tools, right? ZBrush is a super powerful program. Obviously, there's tons of things you can do. You can render out of this software, right? Like if we wanted to do like a different rendering things that if you wanted to render out your little character that you've painted now, right? it allows you to do that, which is super nice. So if you wanted to go in and give your character, you know, some more color and personality, you can do that with the paint, right? I'm trying to think of anything else I want to show you guys. As far as the assignment goes, at this point, all you need to do is take some screenshots, and you don't even have to paint it, right? But you just need to take some screenshots so you could rotate like this and just do a snipping tool. ZBrush also allows you to do screenshots out of the software. So if you wanted to do like a snapshot out of here, you can do that. So there's a render, right? It's going to put shadows on your object for you. You just click fast render and it works. You could do best and it'll take a second to render out your object for you, right? Render it with shadows. You can save your render as a ZBrush render. I also believe, I thought you could do screenshots. Gotta remember where it's at. No, you don't have to. I just wanted to show you guys how to. The assignment is just sculpting. I just want you to sculpt. But I wanted to show you guys that ZBrush isn't just a sculpting software, right? It has painting capabilities, and if you want to try it, go for it. If you do end up painting it, I'll throw you a couple extra credit points, right? So it could be worth it for you if you wanted to try it and just see how it goes. So yeah, if you want to try to paint it, I'm all for it. And I'll throw you, like I said, I'll kick you a couple extra credit points on the assignment. So if you don't want to, don't worry about it. But like I said, ZBrush is super powerful. I just wanted to show you that it's not only a sculpting software. We just painted a texture on this character really quickly, right? I really thought I could do like a... Keyshot? That's a keyshot renderer. Is it under document? Can't remember where it's at. Export screen grab. That might be it right there. Let's see. That's not what I want. Oh, oops. Here's my guy. Document. I just want to make sure I find, because there was a way to do this where you could give yourself a nice screen grab out of here. I gotta remember how to do it. Export image. Let's go to desktop here. Not as a Photoshop. Let's do a PNG. Did it do a Photoshop file? Oh, there we go. Okay, sweet, cool. Yeah, that worked. So, what I'd like you to do to grab, I mean, you could do the snipping tool. It just doesn't look as nice. But what would be nice to do is to hit just the fast render if you want, just so you get a little bit better light. Or you can go to render and do, you know, best, and it'll run a couple shadows on it for you. And then just hit export on this document area right here. So if you go to document and you hit export, it will export the image, and you can save it as whatever, monster guy. Save it out as a PNG. And then you should get a nice little rendered image out of ZBrush. Give it a second to populate on the desktop. It should come in. Here's it is. So now I've got a nice little ZBrush image. Let's say we wanted to put this in Maya or Blender. What would we export it as? The way you've built the little dude, is it easy to adjust to do different poses? Yeah, you could adjust him and do different poses. You could take his arms. We may need to adjust the paint, but if I wanted to take his arm and rotate it, like I could take his little arm like this. Now it's rendering. I don't want it to render every time, so just turn that off. Oh, that's interesting. So I could take his little arm and rotate it, right? And we could pose him. Grab his other little arm. And it might expose some areas that you might need to paint. But yeah, you could pose him for sure. You can move your little arms around and pose and do all the fun stuff you want to do. Yeah, you just export him. If I wanted to throw him into Maya, we could do that real quick if you wanted to see it. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So if we wanted to throw this little guy into Maya, we'd come in here and we'd go to the top. We'd go, what you'd want to do first is merge all these tools, or what you do is export each individual tool out, and then you'd put those into Maya. But what you could do is save. What I would do if you wanted to just pull them into Maya for fun, and then put bones in him and things, you would take him, export them all out as individual files, and then kind of arrange them in Maya. Or you save out a merged version of this character where you merge all the things down and then just export them out as one, like OBJ or FBX. And then you could just import them right into Maya. the slide brushes. Yeah, the slideshows. They're insane. People are insane with this software for sure. The slideshows where you see people's art and here you're like, holy crap, people are nuts. Okay, so take a couple screenshots. You can rotate your little character around, do like a side, a front, a back, or whatever. You just take a couple cool screenshots of them. Like I said, you don't have to color if you don't want to, but if you do end up coloring, I'll kick you a couple extra credit points, so that will be nice, because I'd like to see people attempt it for sure. But if you don't want to, it's not part of the assignment, so don't stress. If you just want to sculpt something really quick and be done, then that's fine too. I just want you guys to get a little bit of exposure to ZBrush, right? Because it's a big part of the program. You're going to be using it a lot. And so the more I can do to help in that regard, the better, right? And as far as that goes, I mean, I don't really have a ton more for you guys today. I don't want to, there's so much in ZBrush we could cover, but I think painting, we went over dynameshing, we went over more subdivisions, we covered clip curve, we covered merging things, we covered painting, we covered rendering a little bit if you wanted to do a fast render, and then we covered doing the document export so you could export some screenshots. I don't want to overwhelm you with the software because it is very huge and does a lot. So I also don't want to take too much of your time tonight because I know people have finals and things like that. So does anybody have any questions for me as far as ZBrush goes, or the last assignment, or turning anything in before the end of the semester? No, Mikey. Nope. Just a photo. Just photos. I'm not worried about getting a turntable out of ZBrush. I don't care. Just some screenshots. And you don't even need to do it with the ZBrush one if you don't want to. You could just do snipping tool through Microsoft. That's fine. But yeah, if you wanted to do them, you just do document export and it'll export whatever your current screen is like this. So if he's posed like this and you export, it'll export a screenshot like that, or even if you have him rendered. So if you do like a render and you do a fast render or a best render and then you screenshot it, it will keep that render for you too. So yeah, attendance answer. So I've got one for you. Here's your attendance answer for today. Okay. There's your attendance answer for today. One last thing before I let you go, I just want to give you all a big shout out and a big thank you. It has been a really fun semester for me. Like I said, teaching is one of the best learning experiences. So I learn something new every time I go live. I'm learning new things as I'm trying to teach you guys the skills and things that I've learned over the years. I've been doing this a while now, so I just want to say thank you for being great students. The Discord has been a fun place and a really welcoming place for students to be, which is exciting for me to see that you guys are helping each other out and interacting with one another, talking about random video games and things in there, as well as asking questions about class. It's been a really great time, and people have asked really good questions in the streams, and I feel like it's been an overall positive experience for everyone. I hope. We really haven't had that many hiccups throughout the semester, other than the one class we missed due to my family emergency. And I never really talked about it too much, but I had a family member that was struggling with some mental health. And so we really needed to find them. So, but they're doing well now. So it all turned out okay. You guys are awesome, and my goal is to teach art to as many people as possible, get an exposure to the youth students, and my goal is that you all go out and make really cool stuff. That's what I want, right? So hopefully you learned something from me, because I've learned a lot from teaching and learning from students all the time, and it's a really positive experience for me. And I appreciate students in a really, like, you guys mean a lot to me because you have made my life that much better. And so yeah, it's been a really fun time. And not to get too cheesy or emotional, but yeah, thank you guys. And I'll see you around. Okay, I'll be on campus. I believe I'm on campus for fall semester, so if you see me, stop me in the hall. If you see me in the EA building, say hi. Say, hey, I took your summer class, because I haven't seen any of your faces really. So if you see me walking around, stop me, say hi, and let me know how you're doing. And I hope you all have a really great journey through the rest of EAE. EAE changed my life, and I love it, and it's my favorite thing. So you've got a long way to go. This is the first class, right? So but enjoy every step of the way. It just gets more fun from here. So it's been a really great time. So thank you, and I'll see you around. Okay, if you need any help in the meantime, I am happy to I'll be out of town until Sunday evening, but if you need help with anything once I get back on Sunday evening, I'll be checking the Discord again. If you need help before you turn any of your final stuff in, I'm happy to assist or do a screen share or something. Your TAs are here for you too. Okay, thank you guys. You're the best, and I appreciate all of you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer. Okay, I'll see you guys soon. All right, have a good one.